Welcome to Girl Talk. We are so glad you tuned in. We've got an awesome show for you today. Lots of cool things to talk about.
As always.
Yeah, my boyfriend just built his own computer.
He did?
So, yeah, while he spilled a Pepsi all over his other one.
I was just going to
bad
say how talented he was, but then we'll
I
find
didn't
out
even
why.
know
No,
that this
that's
is
great.
something that people do. I would never.
I went to visit him and he just had parts and like, what are you doing? It's crazy. But
Wow.
he knows what he's doing and he loves it. It's amazing. It's like super fast
People
and stuff.
get really into that kind of thing. I mean, it's a hobby. It's a very interesting and talented hobby that I don't have any skills involving.
Very rewarding.
He's such a nerd, but I mean, it pays off because he's got a really cool computer.
Yeah.
These days, that's job security.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the cool thing is that, tune in, watch the whole show because Kalal talks about for people who maybe aren't as comfortable, they know enough to kind of start to put their own computer together.
Yeah, Madison Geeks is with us today, and he kind of tells us how to be a geek in training.
Yeah, you bring it in so you can do your own thing, but if you have a question, then they're there.
Yeah.
That's great.
That does sound great.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, you need some kind of, who was telling me about like an ongoing service that they offer?
Oh,
Was that you, Janet?
Yeah, it's kind of a new, it sounds like it's a new program that he's going to tell us more about.
Okay.
But I think that if you have just tiny, quick questions, you can give them a call and they'll answer it. But what you do is pay like a monthly fee, and you can call whenever you want with as many things as you
That's
want.
great.
For example, just recently, I have someone in an office that got a phone call from Microsoft. And they said, your computer, sent our computer a message that there's a virus, and if you just give us access to your computer, we'll get in there and
Scam.
My goodness, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard for some people. Some people don't know if is that true. Microsoft sounds pretty legit, so it'd be nice to be able to call
And
Madison Geeks.
those scams tend to target the elderly.
Yes.
Because they're not sure always how some of the things work. They didn't grow up with it like we did from being young, and so sometimes those things. It's too bad.
It's like treacherous to even open up your computer anymore. You know?
But it's nice to have
Hiding
someone
your
to go
little hole
to.
and like hopefully nothing ever happens to you.
Write everything down. No, just kidding.
Your password list is getting like this.
Yeah.
You need a password manager.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's talk spring. I'd rather talk about spring. We're pushing spring here with.
I know. You brought some gorgeous flowers for us
they're
to
beautiful.
enjoy.
Thank you.
That was very sweet.
Doesn't it brighten it up?
It does. We need that this time of year.
Color with
And-
our black.
And these are the Gerbera?
The Gerbera the berries, the daisies actually, not
Gerbera.
fruit. So that's good. Well, we'll pick Sue's brain later on what exactly they are. She's the expert, but I think they're Gerbera daisies.
I think it was a Freudian slip for Gerber baby.
That could be. I got baby brain going on.
Yeah, Sue Klein will be with us later, and she always brings a fabulous display. So our little daisies will probably get pushed aside for something much more grand, and probably even smell fabulous.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. Have you been out there lately? Have you ever been?
I haven't been out there
Oh my
lately.
gosh, it's fabulous.
Yeah, you go just for the smells.
Just for the smells, absolutely. It is a mood booster.
It is.
By every sense of the word, and each sort of area that you go in is set up with different types of flowers and things going on, and she's got it just beautifully organized, and it just truly does, like I leave there in a better mood. I really enjoy going there.
So we'll be almost to daylight saving, go visit Sue at Klein's Floral, and we're just that much closer to spring.
Thank you. It's been a long winter.
It was nice though. There was a lot of flowers on, Facebook and kind of the social media with Valentine's just passing.
That's true.
So let's just hear more birds out. I'm on showings and I hear birds singing, cardinals, and I'm like, oh, spring.
Yeah, I hear it. It's coming. Absolutely. Well,
we can't forget about Joe.
Joe will be here.
Yeah, we'll be visiting with Joe from Conant Automotive. I have had the peskiest check engine light. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. So I know that's going to be my question for him.
We'll pick his brain for sure.
Happens to a lot of people because cars nowadays, it could be anything.
It
From
could be
very
so
minor
many,
or very important.
And
it's just
expensive.
right.
That's the scary part.
Right, the scary part. That's right. Well, he always is so great, and he's just a pleasure to work with in terms of when you do have something like that come up, because he's very knowledgeable. So
He's got loaner cars too. So
yes.
We'll be back with more Girl Talk right after this. Welcome back to Girl Talk. We've got Klein Cunningham with Madison Geeks here today, and we've got lots of questions for you. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me again.
So I recently heard that Madison Geeks has launched a member services department. Can you tell me exactly what that is?
Well, member services is something that we've always done. We're just actually trying to group it within a departmental environment. Pretty much, a lot of times people are coming in, they have very quick questions. How do I check email? How do I attach, photos to my email to send to my, my friend, my colleague, my coworker? And these are just usually very quick questions, but these people are calling, once a week, maybe once a day with very small little questions. So, we've tried to design a system so that we are pretty much giving them that peace of mind, so that when they, give us a call, we're able to, they become kind of a geek in training almost. It's a solution so that they know that they can just pick up the phone, that they're not bothering us. There's a small monthly fee to it. We have a couple categories of it. And, definitely give us a call. We can tell you a little bit more about, how that works in terms of cost. But it's really that peace of mind. It gives them, that knowledge that they can give us a call and get answers to solutions.
You usually need that answer, like,
Yep.
right in the deadline.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, what do I do?
Who do I call? What do I do? So
Madison Geeks.
you got it.
Training. I like that.
So they just pay some sort of monthly fee, and they can call anytime with all their little questions.
That's correct.
Do you have something like that for businesses too?
We do, yep. So we have a lot of small businesses that come to us and they need a IT department, but they're too small to have their own IT guy, and they're not large enough to outsource with some of the larger IT departments that are out there. So they come to us and we are able to give them solutions. Come out once a week, come out once a month, or just consult them over the phone with how to set up their email, do remote services with their clients or even with their own employees. Everything, taking care of viruses and making sure that their network is secure. But,
Boy, and more these days, we're feeling the need for that kind of help.
Yeah.
So
that's what we
glad
provide.
you're there.
I kind of feel like a geek in training right now. You were speaking earlier about freezing your desktop, and I have never heard of this before. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it relates to senior citizens or maybe families with small children?
This is a big one. We get a lot of families with small children that come in. The kids are just infecting the machines, once a week, infected. We clean it, we put all these tools on there. It doesn't matter. The kids are clicking on everything. And then for senior citizens as well, we have a lot of users coming in, and they have a certain setup that their family members came in, put on their desktop for them, and then they're deleting things or they're moving icons, or if it's not here and they're used to seeing it here.
I don't even think you need to be a senior citizen to do that. I do that all the
right.
time.
Well, that's true. It doesn't have to be right. Exactly. So freezing the desktop. There's many methods of doing it. We provide a few. We kind of try to figure out what works best for that particular case. But freezing the desktop pretty much means is after a reboot, it goes back to exactly the way it was before it got all messed up. So whether it be viruses or moving icons, it just goes back to its original state, and it's really good for kids who are just clicking on everything, and senior citizens who are deleting. But really anybody who really needs that kind of that kind of solution. So
make it oops proof.
Yeah, oops proof. Yeah, there we go. We'll have to brand it as oops proof.
So I thought I heard you mention earlier Geekbench. Can you expand on that a little bit?
This is a new concept that we have. We have a lot of gamers coming into us that are needing computers built, but they're techie guys. They're geeks already, but they're not hardware geeks. They might be, they know about software. They know about the overall presence of computers. Geekbench is an idea that we put out there that allows for these users to come into us. We rent a desk space for them to use. They can build their own machines. They can bring in their own parts, but then they have access to our technicians so that they can, come to us. They have our tools. They have other components where they can come and test their devices, and they have an environment where they can, they know enough to build their machine, but they can actually build it with the confidence of knowing that there's professionals able to help them with that.
They're at that level of knowing enough just to be dangerous.
Exactly.
Right.
You got it.
Well, I think that would save time too, because then you don't have to worry so much. You can just get an answer and keep on, and you can still say you built it yourself.
And then you can say you did it. You got it. That's a big one. Yeah.
Love that. Shoot, well, we're about out of time. I have more questions. We'll have to get you back.
Of course.
Thank you so much for coming in. So check out Geekbench and their member services department. And you can also check out MadisonGeeks.com for more information. So thank you, Klein.
Thank you.
And come right back for more Girl Talk. We're going to have Sue Klein from Klein's Floral.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. We have one of our favorite florists with us today. This is Sue Klein from Klein's Floral. Thanks for coming back in, Sue.
You're welcome.
I feel like we could call our segments with you, What's New with Sue? Because you always have something new and you always bring in the loveliest things. I wish you could smell
so
this.
good.
Yeah, you can't even.
You really can. It's much needed and much appreciated.
Incredible.
So thank you very
And this is what I get to work with every day.
Yeah, lucky you. Well, today you wanted to talk a little bit about 1-800 numbers and calling florists. And so if you want to buy flowers for a friend that's out of state, what do you think is the best way to go about that?
Sure. Well, when you're in the same town, most of us know a shop that we like and trust and all that. It's it's when you're going out of state and you're kind of unsure.
Right.
And there's a lot of ads online in the yellow pages that aren't really flower shops. They're a 1-800 kind of number, and people don't realize that you get a much better value when you talk to the florist directly. So.
I can imagine that, of course, absolutely. And what are some of the reasons that one would want to go to those real
Convenient.
florists, local florists?
Because you're going to get a better value. You can talk to the florist, and you want to send flowers to your mom. She loves blue. We just got some blue hydrangeas and iris in today, and I think your mom would really like this. And being able to talk with a person instead of picking out a recipe. None of these arrangements are a recipe that's online.
You mean
They're all unique.
So do you mean instead of ordering bouquet number 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Customize it and kind of match, make it a little bit more personal.
Have a conversation.
Exactly. And if someone has difficulties, maybe they're having a hard time, they just came out of surgery and they're going to take longer to get to the door, to be able to communicate that to a real person.
So how would you know then? Because like you said, some of them take out the 800 flowers, not necessarily, but 800 number shops.
Right.
Might take out an ad. So how do you know if you're
Google the
reaching-
phone number,
Okay.
look for a street address in the Contact Us page.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that helps. And I think even when you call and you're having this real conversation, you can probably get a good feel for it that way as well.
Right, it's a much better value. A lot of times with those, they're called order gatherers in our industry, but they take a large service fee. So you're paying a lot more than you need to if you're doing it that way, and you're getting a lot less than you expect.
Very interesting.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So going with the 1-800 scenario,
yes.
or a local person, you're saying that they have a larger service fee, so you would get more flowers for your money with a local person?
Right. Typically, they're going to charge $15 to $20 for service, and they're not really a real shop or anything like that. And they do transfer the order to a real shop like us.
Okay, now I'm with you. Okay.
So if you're not going through these large, like 1-800 numbers, are there any local organizations that are helping you, that are supporting you?
There
directly?
are. There's one that we are very proud to be a member of, and that's Dane Buy Local.
Oh,
and
sure.
it's Dane County. And it's not just florist, of course, it's any local business.
Sure.
So, and what are some reasons besides just supporting our local shops? Why? How big of a deal is it to buy local?
Well, it helps the economy and builds community support, and it keeps our money right here in the community.
Yeah, as a small business owner myself, I take pride in that so much, and word of mouth, and just like your fellow neighbor or someone down the street, it's so much more rewarding to purchase things through them or have that connection and relationship with one another. It's important and can be forgotten, I think.
Absolutely, and when you've been around so long, how long has Klein been around?
101 years.
Who can say that anymore?
Right.
That's crazy.
You got to be doing something right.
Yeah.
Right? Look what she just whipped up and brought in. It's gorgeous.
We did. We just whipped them up this morning, and yes, it's very fun.
Well, this woman can be found in all kinds of places. We can do it the old school way and just call you. We can do it the old school way and stop by, which I'd recommend. But everything else, social media-wise, go ahead and list it off.
We are on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest,
Twitter.
Oh my gosh. Go girl.
Do it all.
And of course, you have a website.
We do, yes.
Lots of places that you can find Sue Klein. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be right back with Conant Automotive talking about our car questions. Last but not least is our favorite go-to guy for our car questions. This is Joe Conant from Conant Automotive out in Stoughton. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Thank you.
We have car questions. I know I've had a burning car question. I kind of hope my dad's not watching. I keep getting my check engine light, no kidding. And the most recent, it goes on and it goes off, and that's the hard part. And so the other day, it went on, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna take care of this thing once and for all, and I made the appointment, and I'm quite literal here. I got in my car and pulled out of the driveway, and it went off.
Okay.
And I've been told that you can't even diagnose it if it goes off. So talk to us about the check engine light.
Yes.
Okay, the biggest thing with a check engine light on is it happens when you're coming home from work at 5 o'clock at night. And it can be frustrating because you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're going to make it home. You don't know if it's going to start the next morning.
Or if you should drive or stop or...
So a lot of shops, and especially what we do, is like if a customer calls up and, yep, my check engine light's on, we'll say, come on down. We'll scan it to see the severity of the code because that's what's stored in the computer of the vehicle. And what we'd use is a tool like this, which is like a $50 code reader. And a lot of like parts stores will do this, offer this, like come and read, we'll read the codes for free. This is not a diagnostic tool, and a lot of people think that it is, so they'll think they'll be able to fix their car with this, or the parts store is going to be able to sell them a sensor or whatnot. This will tell you how bad the code is and if you can drive the car. So then you can set up the appointment. So then we would note the code, and then you can be on your way, set up the appointment for a day or two later. And then when you come in, we would use, everything is going laptop. Let me turn it around. Whereas old days, which I should say, the last 20 years, you would get a big red box that would be a scanner, they would call it. Well, nowadays everything is being software where we buy the software from the OE manufacturers and put it on the laptop. So we can touch basically 90% coverage out there. And that's how you diagnose a check engine light.
You're talking coverage of the vehicle or like different makes and models?
Coverage of the car line, like General Motors, Ford, Chrysler,
Okay.
European, the Asian. I mean, we can take care of all of them. And
So-
most shops can.
So in my situation where the light went off, can you still do it?
Because the computer still has that stored in the system.
Oh, really?
Like you could drive the biggest mistake people make is let the check engine light go. And the
We all look at each other, guilty.
the thing is you got one little light bulb that tells you, the computer, that it senses a fault, that, okay, the computer can store maybe 350 different codes. So when that light comes on, let's say it's just a real simple thing like a gas cap's faulty. Okay, you'll let that go. I don't have time to fix it. Well, 2 months later, that light's still on. You're thinking that it's a gas cap. Well, then it's this problem. And another week later, it's
You
this
don't
problem.
even realize that's something else.
So
has
that
occurred.
instead of being a $50 repair, the first time to get that light off, you come in a year later and it's a $600 repair.
Right, because you think it's that first small incident.
Right.
Wow.
So that's very important. That light should never be on. It should always be off. Even though somebody read it with a code reader or whatever, a scanner, and oh, we'll put that off. Well, tomorrow, we're going to fix it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes, and then I run into that a lot. And it's not nice to give a customer an estimate for $600, $700, $800.
No, it's not nice at all.
No, always have that light off.
So the on-off doesn't mean we're in the clear when it's off.
No.
Right.
No.
And the thing is, when that light comes on, it could be something real simple, like I said, a gas cap, or it could be something more severe. The biggest thing is when the check engine light flashes, that means something needs to be fixed immediately.
Okay, flashing.
And that means that something expensive could fail if you continue driving with it flashing.
Are you listening?
Yeah, certainly
That's
am,
the
yeah.
biggest thing.
Absolutely.
But the majority of shops out there, if you call them up and say, yep, my check engine light's on, a lot of shops should say, yep, come right in, we'll read the code quick, note it down, and then we can schedule you in. That's the best way to do it. That way, you know what's going on. Instead of sleeping, going to bed at night wondering what's wrong with your car, you can have a little peace of mind, and that's the important thing.
And let's talk a little bit about the scheduling process. So when we call to tell you something's wrong with our vehicle, what kinds of information do you want when we're calling to make an appointment? What does that look like for you?
We like it. I'm glad you asked that. We like it when people call up and say, okay, my car is doing this, it happens at this time when I'm turning or when I'm driving, it's making this noise, and so on. It's so nice when people, and I'll say females, call up and say that. And then it's so much easier to work with.
Because we don't know what's wrong.
Well,
we just know what noise
my
it
boyfriend
makes.
said it was this, and my dad said it was this, and you don't want any
And
of that.
sometimes they can be right, but a lot of times people will go on the computer and Google search, and that's when it really gets crazy, because then they're making all these assumptions, either what it's going to take to fix it. And a lot of I would say a lot of the males that call up will tell you what's wrong with the car
Instead of
or
the
the truck or whatever. And it's for instance, and I hope I don't make this customer mad at me, because it's kind of funny. The customer called up and said, how much for the exhaust system on my truck? Well, okay, instead of, if the way the scenario should have went, Joe, my truck is making a lot of noise. I think it's from the muffler or whatever. Can I get in and have you guys give me an estimate? Sure, no problem. No, it went to, how much for my exhaust system on my truck? Well, then I shot him a number. Well, it's going to cost you probably about $1,500 to $2,000. And he went silent, and I said to him, well, we're looking at exhaust manifolds, we're looking at catalytic converter, we're looking at, you said exhaust system. And I was being kind of smart, but I guess that's my personality, and yeah, he's coming in and we're going to inspect his exhaust, and it's probably going to be a quarter of that. So.
So you're one. Well, and I would actually appreciate an overestimate versus an under. So that's nice. But you're wanting the symptoms of what's happening with your vehicle,
and let you do the diagnosing,
and let you do let the expert do the work.
Well, we'll have to bring you back, because I know we always have more questions.
Thanks,
I
guys.
know, we didn't even get to mine.
We're out of time. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe Conant from Conant Automotive in Stoughton. And that's it for today. Thanks to all of our guests. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Girl Talk.